Hi everyone, welcome to this edition of Addington News, brought to you out of the Brecon Winning Owners Bar. Darren, this week's set of fields I reckon are as good as we've had maybe in the last 4 or 5 seasons, but last week was also really good racing and some stunning performances on the track.
Yeah, look, 3 very important races leading up to Cup Day and Show Day for each of the size stakes for both the Colts and the Fillies, plus the Neville heat, plus one of our own preludes for the Graphite Development's Futurity. So look, it was an important night. Weather wasn't looking so good earlier in the week, but we got through. It was bitterly cold, but gee, it didn't change the performances on the track. Really good. Turnover just under 1.1 million again on a Thursday night. Margin really good. So really pleased that we're just stepping in the right direction and things as we would expect, building the New Zealand Cup beautifully.
All right, we've got plenty to talk about with regards to this week's race meeting. We'll have a look back at a couple of races shortly, but just on next week, so it's the last meeting of the season and you've got something special. IRT have come to the party and I'm really liking the concept of a Legends race line.
Yeah, it'll be a beauty. So it's an IRT race meeting next week and they have named a number of races after legends of the sport. Cecil Devine, Jack Smolenski, and a number, and we won't announce them all here, but that'll be something cool next week. A wee bit in line with what we've been doing with naming races after horses, and we know that we had the Alias Arbro 3-year-old trot last week. Brian Glidden got an absolute kick out of being on course.
It was cool having him in here too.
Yeah. And he really enjoyed it. He wasn't going to go outside because it was too cold, but he did it anyway.
Had a couple of whiskies, it was nice.
Exactly. So look, that's some of the things that we're very keen to do. Unfortunately, we lost Margaret Vermeulen last week, and they were involved with a hilarious guest race last year.
What about some of the horses that they have had in their time?
Incredible. Like, I did a quick piece during the night for Matt and the family with black armbands we had on for the passing of Murray Edmonds, but we also recognised Margaret. And when you start going through Morris's horses, gee, some broodmares,
Speedy Chevelle, you know, like horses that I can remember back in the 80s.
Trine, but hilarious guest, of course, winning a derby in a stellar year with some of the very best colts that we had at the time. And there's not many fillies and mares fillies that win derbies.
No, that's
obviously
right.
The Adormees and those sort of horses, but it's pretty rare. And she's a special horse, hilarious guest. She's pretty good.
Yep, absolutely, she was. Okay, let's have a look at this first before we go back to a couple of races from last week. But if you join the TAB, deposit $10, they're going to give you 50 and a bonus bet. Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, so this is part of the conversation we want to have with everyone around Cup Day. There are less tote windows on course. That's just the reality of COVID situation. There's not enough being available. We're having to fly some operators from Auckland and Palmerston North and Wellington. It comes at a big cost. But we want people to have a TAB account. That's the easiest way to be betting on course. You're not having to stand in a queue or anything else. Not a bad offer. You've only got to deposit 10, they're going to give you 50. All you do is go to tab.co.nz, follow your nose, click the join now button, screen pops up, it tells you what to do and away you go, and you just follow your nose through there, you verify your account and you're all set to go. Punting furiously on Cup Day.
Yeah, absolutely, as you should be. It's going to be a big day. Let's go back to a couple of these races from last week. Here's the Woodland Stud Sire Stakes. Now this is the key lead up to this week's New Zealand Bloodstock Harness Million. We've got 3 of those races spread amongst the horses this week. This is last week's heat. Of course, the final is on Cup Day. And here's Don't Stop Dreaming sitting in the trail. Now, he was first up in a long time. He's had an interrupted preparation. I thought he was very good. Charlie Brown hits the line strongly for John Dunn. Been doing a good job. Alta Meteor did a power of work. He's drawn inside back road on Friday night, so it won't be easy for him. And Final Collect also doing some good things. And a bit of a flashing light here, Darren. The pink cap of Samantha Otley aboard Sherlock, who charged home, goes back to a maiden this week. He'll be incredibly hard to beat, but he's a very good horse, Don't Stop Dreaming. He had to come back, and yes, he had the barrier draw, but he did that under his own steam. He's got the outside second row this week, so it is not going to be easy for him. So his was a good performance last Thursday night. This is even better. This is Treacherous Gal. Now, how the heck she got up and won this race is nothing short of remarkable. This is her back of the field here. The leader gets home, and I think about 55 and change. How this horse has got up, so they turn for home. Artie by the Seaside's won its last 2 races, Team Telfer absolutely flying. At that point there has to be 6-7 lengths at least for her to get up. Now, just about this point I thought, no, she's not going to get there. She starts taking some fairy-like footsteps. Did a power of work early to get the lead. Have a look at the finishing burst here. Whooshka. Bang, over the top. One of the better performances I've seen this year at Addington Raceway by a treacherous gal to get up and win that race. So I thought outstanding and certainly worthy of having another look at. So they were a couple of the performances from last week. This week, Music and Spectators, Chunky's Corner. You know, it's your last couple of Friday nights to come to Addington before the Cup, Carl.
Yeah, look, it's going to be busy. The grandstand's full already.
Yep.
We've got members night as well, which is our traditional New Zealand members night, and that's a very popular function. A number of prize draws and everything else for members and their guests, the whole guest cards. As we say, spectators will be open. We'll have a lot of barrels outside and umbrellas and things up. Weather is okay, certainly better than last week, and it's going to be a great night on course. Don't Stop Dreaming, of course, Greg, owned by the Dunfords, and part owner Ian Dobson, who celebrates an important milestone on Sunday, I think, a birthday.
Yeah, that's right.
Coming up, but as though you didn't need anything else to add to Akuta and Muscle Mountain, you've got not a bad 2-year-old as well. He's going to have a good cup meeting.
He absolutely is. Speaking of the cup meeting and the cup itself, the IRT New Zealand Cup, we always love the history of the race, but particularly when the Australians get involved. Last Saturday night, Rock and Roll Do came out and won the Victoria Cup. If you hadn't had a chance to watch that, go to harness.org.au and click on the Saturday results, and up it'll come Melton. Stunning performance from him. Mick Stanley is on the plane on Thursday. He'll be at Kentuckiana Lodge from Saturday. So he's leaving no stone unturned here. The horse will be at Ashburton for Flying Stakes Day, Labor Day Monday, their big day. I mean, they are really putting on a good day at Ashburton. And the other good bit of news is Majestic Cruiser, the horse that came over, ran second in the race by Grins and then won the Messenger coming wide at Alexandra Park and beating Self Assured. He looks like he's locked in. He looks like he's booked in. He'll be on the same flight down here as the defending champion. Copy that. This could be a cup for the ages, the way things are shaping up.
Yeah, look, the form line's into it with all of these horses coming from different races, particularly the Methven Cup, go right back to the Morris Holmes Vase with He's a Sport.
Yep.
Don't forget Pembroke Playboy, who's lurking in Southland and underperformed a little bit in Nathan's own mind. Will still run a placing, but underperformed a little bit. He's still got to come forward. We've got the other two Southlanders of Kirsten Green's doing great things at the moment, in particular McAndrew Aviator.
Going great, yeah.
So they're all trying to get their hands on the New Zealand Cup, Greg, and one thing we can tell you about the New Zealand Cup, it's going touring.
Yes.
New Zealand Cup will be at the Hornby Club here in Christchurch next Thursday night, the 20th, from 4 till 6 o'clock. People can have their photo taken with the cup, go up and see it, get in touch with it, and win a couple of tickets or some tickets to come on Cup Day. And the same thing will happen a week later at the Papanui Club. So another whole different audience that can enjoy it and see what it's about.
Absolutely. Right, we've got a full meeting preview for you. I've already mentioned Sherlock. Akuta looks really hard to beat in the Group 1, which is the Air Park Canterbury Group 1 Flying Stakes. Traditionally the key lead up to the Derby, which is now on the 4th of December. So both of those probably should win, and you can play your multis around that because some of the other races are not going to be easy. Campaign. I Dream of Jeannie had no chance at Methven off that back mark. Yeah, there's some real talent in this, and then you got the regulars, I call them, Darren Prince Tecker, Cody Banner, the Bloss. They just turn up at Addington week after week after week, and I know you guys thoroughly appreciate that. And then you've got a 3-year-old called Mystic Max, who was brilliant first up, I thought, very good, and behind Hot to Trot. So, yeah, and Highgrove. It's a pretty good form line for this race. How do I line them up? In the end, I went for Harold Smith just by virtue of that 10 metres in front of Artie by the Hill, but I wouldn't be surprised if Artie by the Hill still was able to win this race. Good chance to Majestic Lavros, and I've always been a fan of Royal Dell, who's back to a stand, and I think that's his go in life now that he's only won 1 from 11 from the mobile. So good race, but the best each way, Harold Smith.
So the meeting wasn't big enough. The Air Park Cannery Flying Stakes mobile pace at Group 1 level 1980 at 8 o'clock, Greg, includes Akuta, who is a drifting horse in the New Zealand Cup market. But this field is going to mirror the New Zealand Derby, which of course is on the Grand Prix day December the 4th at Addington. There's some hospitality available on our website now, but this is a cracker amongst a stellar of stars on the night.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and the barrier draws made it more intriguing, although I have a bit of a theory here. I expect Franco Mack to come off pretty hard, get across Don Maro, who was good off the gate last time, but it's a lot harder to lead from barrier 1, and Akuta will just keep coming, I think. So if he gets the front, then he should win the race. He's $1.70 now into $1.60. I think he might start shorter than that. Mark Burton said he was too fat. He had a few tie-up issues, and he's on top of those, and he's got the front row advantage over the Republican Party. He was just simply too fast last time. There's no excuses for any of those in behind because he was just too quick for them. He's not going to have that advantage this time because he's drawn behind Don Maro. So, yeah, that's the way I saw it. Akuta's race to lose. He should get his campaign back on track. On the run, but back of this run, he goes to the Flying Stakes at Ashburton, and then we decide whether he goes to the Cup. I suppose if he gets beaten Friday night, I'd say that's the end of the Cup campaign, and it's only just in the balance at the moment.
Race number 9 is the first leg of the Lake Quaddie, and this is just a set of 4 quaddie legs that are stacked with
Yeah,
talent.
good luck with this.
This is not easy. The NZB Standardbred Harness 1,000,003 mobile pace for the Colts and Geldings, 1980. And Greg, you had to have won a race to even get in the field.
Yeah, tough race to get into, but I think again this is a great reflection of the new calendar and having these number of horses that are stronger and they're fitter and they're more race horses, and it's being reflected in the field that we're getting for a race like this. And what's more, 2 of them are unbeaten. One of them's going to get beaten on Friday night unless they did heat. Merlin and Don't Stop Dreaming. Don't Stop Dreaming has won 4 from 4. Merlin 7 from 7. In fact, it's greater than that because he's won about 4 or 5 trials as well. He's never been beaten in any of those. And he's got the advantage this week with a front row draw. So I think that just sways it his way, and the fact that he's had a couple more runs than Don't Stop Dreaming this time in, and of course Don't Stop Dreaming's on the outside of the gate, so it's not going to be a whole lot of fun for him out there, nor for Alta Meteor, who's won the back row. Follows out Gandalf and could find himself back in the field. Intriguing runner, Son of Mac, not too sure how good he is. They tell me Kyle Marshall and the team there think he's something special, but he'll need to be. I think Merlin over Don't Stop Dreaming, I'm happy to go that way. Good chance Alta Meteor if he has any luck. And I didn't mind the run of Final Collect last time. He and Vint Kabee are probably on a par in that regard, but I'll go for Merlin.
Race number 10 is the XCM Sport Cannery Park Trotting Cup, a handicap race, a Group 3 1 for $30,000, 2,600 at 9 o'clock, Greg, and pretty much every trotter in the country is here with the exception of maybe Bolt for Brilliance.
He's the only one missing. This is a deep, deep race, and if we haven't seen enough stars already, we get to see the country's leading trotter, Sunday Sun, but his mantle is being challenged. It's being challenged by Bolt for Brilliance and a race rival this week in Muscle Mountain. A little bit intriguing that Muscle Mountain's drawn 1 off 20 metres. There'll be some nervous trepidation at the start there, but if he trots away, I think he's the one to beat. Sunday Sun will improve off that first run. Spoke to John Dunn. He said he's a lot happier with him, although not totally happy. That still says to me he can't drive him the way he needs to be able to win these types of races. You can't not have him in your top 2, but I don't think he'll win it. Majestic Man's ridiculous odds, as is Oscar Bonavina at $18. And Smoke and Bandar might try and do what Smoke and Bandar does at Addington, get on the speed. They run home quickly. He's right there, and therefore he'll take a lot of catching. I'm leaving out Mataderos, Midnight Dash. This is a very, very good field, and the return of 5 Wise Men. But I'll go for Muscle Mountain this week.
It's hard, isn't it? You've got to pick one, and there's so many to pick from and so much talent. Race number 11 is the Harness Racing Unhinged Handicap Pace. As we say, they always do a great job on Facebook for everyone, in particular Addington, 2,600 metres at 9:28, Greg, and pretty much a Cup class field.
Yeah, it is. This is a race that's sort of slotted in there, I think, as a result of COVID, and it's probably there to stay now because anyone who fails or doesn't go well in the Methven Cup are going to this race, hoping to get their campaign back on track and decide whether they go to Ashburton or Kaikoura. So it's right in the right place, I reckon, for mine. BDJ will be hard to beat, but he's drawn 1 off 20, so there'll be no stepping and rolling to the front straight away. He's going to have to work his way into it. I reckon Kango's got a good chance this week. He wasn't actually too bad at Methven, and I reckon he can bounce back in this. Krug's got a bit to prove to warrant his place in the Cup. I think he's out to about 12th on the rankings. He wouldn't want to drift any further. He'll be in a bit of pain, particularly if John Dickey's horse goes well at Ashburton. There's going to be a bit of fighting for those last spots. Cranbourne's found his way outside Old Town Road was also I was trying to think of. Outside the 15 now. He needs to step away and get his campaign back on track. And the forgotten horse in the race, and he could line up and win this, and everyone will go, well, how did he pay $12? Well, that's He's a Sport. Because he won fresh up. That was in the Morris Holmes Vase. He was crooked as next start. He went a good race in the Canterbury Classic, and he'll go a good race again this week, Darren. So I reckon he's a terrific each-way hope in the race is He's a Sport. So good race. Really looking forward to it. Best value, without doubt, He's a Sport.
The last race on the card, a mammoth program, the first direct taxis, mobile pace 1980 at 9:55, the last leg of this impossible quaddie. I
saw John Granger today, and he had a wry smile on his face when I said to him, Matt Cross has made this his best bet of the week. He said, well, I don't know if he's ever going to be the best bet because he's that type of horse. You look at this field and you'd say, well, Revere will win this. He has to win this. But I've said that before and he's got beaten. I'll tip him on top, but no great confidence. Major Memphis to continue the run of Mark Jones's team. 3 wins last week. Congratulations to him. Another very good night at the office. Happy Place, racing well. Outside second row, not ideal, but can find its way into the top 4, as can a Patch of Gold, who's been racing well for a wee while. But Revered in the last, if you battle it through those 12 races and can't find some value on the night, I think it's the best set of fields we've had in the last 4 or 5 years, and I reckon the turnover will reflect it. And I reckon if you stick with the ship, you can make some money. Even backing into some of those power plays that the Tab are offering now. Obviously, you got the $10,000 first fours to boot and the pick 6. So it's a great weekend of punting, Darren. You got the Everest. You got the Livermore up north. You got other great races at Caulfield. The Cup, I think it is this week, is it? Probably is. So it's that sort of weekend. So it's punting paradise, and it all kicks off with us on Friday night.
Yeah, look, TAB New Zealand, tab.co.nz have got a number of those markets out already, and we appreciate that, plus the bonus pools that they've been able to make available to us. It's going to be a really terrific night. We've got some music and spectators with Anton after the last race. He'll probably kick off a wee bit before that, just to rev everyone up. We've got a massive crowd on course. Chunky's Corner, the Smoker, the Addington Smoker will be open. As we say, there's a lot happening. We're going to leave you with a video from 2013 of Terror to Love winning his 3rd New Zealand Cup. He'll actually be part of the IRT Champions Parade on Cup Day with all of that information we've released earlier in the year. And he will have his 2nd runner in the New Zealand Cup in all likelihood with Smithy's Terror, who won the Methven Cup for Corbin Newman in such great fashion in a tight finish on Sunday. But we're going to leave you with Terror to Love, Greg. He's a crowd favourite, and I think this is a fitting way to leave this week's Addington News.
Which only took about 4 hours.
Chris and me into the straight in 28.5. It's Terror to Love, a length and a half, Pembroke Benny, and then Fly Like an Eagle. Chris and me's out now. Terror to Love leads. Chris and me, Fly Like an Eagle. It is still Terror to Love. He's going to do it. It is the greatest cup win of all time. Terror to Love beat Fly Like an Eagle, and Chris and me, the Gold Cup of Ricky May, has won the greatest race you will ever see. Then Pembroke Benny, Caribbean Blaster. Next home is 4 Stars Flash, Jason Rules, Franco Ledger, Marciche, Easy on the Eye. Next in is Pass Them By, High View Tommy, Mac Banner, Sleepy Trip, Suave Stewie Lombo. You have witnessed more than history. You have witnessed one for the ages.